Alright, we're back live at the Moravia Historical Society, and Frankie's gonna do some spoken word performance right now, so let's turn it on.
All right, so I wanna give you thanks for everybody for just hearing me out a little bit. There's a lot more to know and to learn about this special day. But for now, I'm gonna
The
pass on
world
the
is watching.
palabra
Huh?
for another speaker. But here's
The world is
your brother
watching.
Oscar.
Say hello to the world.
Thank you very much.
Islo.
Give it up for Lucas.
Yobo, Lucas.
Woo!
Next up, we have one of the youth. He's gonna kick a little bit of a couple poems for us. Next up, we have Francisco. Everybody, give it up for Francisco.
Woo! Yay, Francisco. Let me come over here.
Hello. Good evening again. How's the wine? Has everyone had the wine? I had the wine. It's really good. This is after all a moment to also celebrate our dead. Not in a sense that we appreciate that they're gone, but in a sense that we appreciate that we can come together to celebrate how this culture has grown and whatnot. But I'm going to put this in a little timeline. Last week I was asked if I could come here and perform and do my spoken word, and I actually reached out to be able to do it. So I had about a week to prepare, and it being Day of the Dead, I thought about making something having to do with my grandfather, who was the person that I most feel impacted my life when he passed away. However, I found myself writing it and writing it and writing it and writing it. The more I wrote about it, the more it would hurt me, and I couldn't finish it. But I have these letters that I wrote, and these letters that I wrote were to ideas right before I celebrated his anniversary of his passing. And during this moment in time, my best friend, you might not think he's my best friend because he's a Hindu Indian and always walks around with a red dot on his forehead, and that's always the coolest thing about him, because he has the courage to do that. But at the time, he was trying to, get his girlfriend, and I tried to help him out a lot, so I was his wingman. But at the same time, I was going through my own little depressive moment, and I wrote these little letters to these ideas. 7 letters right before the passing of the anniversary of the passing of my grandfather. Letter 1, a letter to friendship. You see, my pen is the bridge between my heart and yours. I use my ink to express my feelings and my thoughts. Sometimes it's difficult to swim across the sea. Shit, I can't find the words in such a vast ocean. Those waters contain the purest of emotion, but within the waves, I can't take in air. These feelings are just natural among us, like the reflex to smile at you every time I see you, the killer urge to hold you an extra second when I hug you. Shit, it's unexplainable with mere words, for not even they can compare with the deep love I have for all my brothers and sisters. While others drown in sorrow, I feed my spirit with the water we share. Underneath it, I feel like I can split apart this tremendous force with focused thrust of dispersing breath. I'm suspended throughout the millions of atoms as if I were a star in the sky, and when I rise above the surface, I climb through the wind an enlightened person. Who knew this unconditional love and limitless service would allow me to fly and caress the clouds? I'm free. Many say that love captured me, but no, me and love are one. So now I must ask you, would you take my hand so together we can explore the world?
Yeah.
Letter number 2. When I sit and think about who I am, I'm the typical man on top of a hill. I'm overlooking the city, and it feels like taking a boat ride with glass floors. I'm observing the fish move by me. I feel so high up that it seems as if I'm standing adjacent to airplanes in flight. And when the wind blows, I feel the breeze. It's as if someone was caressing me softly, yet it's powerful enough that my skin feels like it's in ecstasy. Of course, I'm not up there for pleasure. I stand here for a cleansing of my mind. My thoughts race, my breath becomes short and shallow, my heartbeat becomes a pulse shooting through the air, and with these eyes shut, looking at the dark canyon above us, I experience a mental adrenaline rush. You see, for 5 seconds, I just want to collapse, but what for if I only end up at the bottom of the staircase where I started? At the end of my contemplation, I find an identity, I find a purpose for my sacrifices and words to fill a blank book up. See, I think my final thoughts before I walk back down the trail. It's dark, it's surly, it's an essence of complete silence surrounding me. This isn't a welcome to my world, this is an invitation to find your own. Letter number 3. These streets at night, so full of life, yet many only see the darkness. When people roam throughout the neighborhoods, they only go as far as fear. They may walk a block, maybe two, but they're struck by paranoia. But you see, I'm not afraid. I've been everywhere overnight, from parks to downtown to ghettos to beaches, always with my head held high as if I'm telling evil, go ahead, attack me. I keep strutting, but that's not all I see. It's probably 2 or 3 in the morning, and as I mentioned, shit, there's so much life. At this time of day, many have plunged into their dreams. They allow their body to lay at rest, and the way I see things as I walk right down the middle of the street is that I'm floating through the imagination of others. The trees morph into mythical creatures, and when I stare down into the pavement, I'm looking down into the earth in free fall. And I'm still not afraid. So you don't be afraid to recite in your dreams. They provide unthinkable wonders. Letter number 4. I like sleep. It's great for all sorts of recovery. The people that play sports need to rest our bodies, and the philosophers need to rest our minds. We wear out on a daily basis like it's a routine. At least it's that way for me. I don't have anything to complain about, but ultimately I can go on without sleep for a long time. I repeatedly bust all-nighters and drink my favorite drinks, coffee, tea. Lastly, I consider my sleep is just an illusion, but I must understand that I need it. But what really puts me to rest is love. Do something thoughtful, give a soulful gift, portray my passion to the world. How can anybody rest with a full conscience? I feel like I need to grasp myself by my arms sometimes to pull myself in the right direction. Every pause, every breathe, every blink of an eye provides me with enough aspiration to continue on to new ideas. It's like a refreshment when I tell someone about my life. It's like my spirit is being rehydrated with my own and your tears as well. I start my mornings fresh and ready to take myself on and add to this world. Don't attempt to rest yourself only by stopping certain hobbies, but by doing something new, full of life, full of love. Letter number 5. It's about breakfast. The most important meal of the day. Indeed. You see, it's like the motivation, the little push that pulls you through the day. When I do get the chance to eat breakfast, I'm filled with energy. Whether it be 90 degrees outside or if it's pouring, I trudge out the door with impetus and such a positive attitude. There's no real need to analyze this. It's as simple as when you run on an empty stomach, you're a bit slower than usual. But don't go assuming that I'm not a morning person. I'm an all-day, everyday person. I love the mornings. You get up and hear the birds chirping melodies, and the leaves of a tree rattle when the breeze starts flowing. You get to see half of the sky still dark and the other half slowly begins to brighten up. You witness how the ghastly shadows of the dark run away from daylight as the flowers look as if they just recently bloomed. But ultimately, nothing can compare to that single moment when you feel nothing but cold, and slowly, if the sun were teasing you, gets up from the blanket of the horizon and in caressing strokes begins to hold you with its incredible warmth. Learn to appreciate even the simplest of things, for so much can be found within them. Letter number 6. As I stand in the callid orange sunshine, I envision the day. I ask myself, what am I going to accomplish today? For who will I dedicate this to? Most importantly, what impact will I leave today? They call me a life changer. All that's left is the world. Many people recognize the applaudable actions I've done to promote change and other topics such as unification and trust. Yeah, I'm a little crazy. I always search through my bag of extreme tricks to pull out scenes that nobody would think of, until they actually happen, of course. I bring optimism and open eyes and minds as wide as the sky to new ideas. I bring inspiration, and that's key. Then the almighty creativity is born within the portrait. All of us have the worthy spirit, and we own one. You see, in my soul, there's this huge crossword puzzle. It rose from the ground, and I learned to manipulate and unscramble words. Flowers with letters, as petals grew in my heart, and developed in my voice, dispersing like rose petals thrown in front of a soon-to-be married couple. I write poetry, I write songs, and reflections intended to shoot the young mind. We are strong, and as I have done, you too can change lives, leading footsteps, and shape-shift the world. I'm 16 years old. Don't let yourself be judged just because you are young. Last letter, letter number 7. A letter to Mom. My journey began with her. I've known her since August 1994. I consciously met her though on November 1999, which is when I first came to the America. But it feels as if only a few months ago, July 2010, is when I developed an intimate relationship with her. I remember the first time I messed up, but I made a change for the better. I was in 7th grade. I was failing algebra. My teacher demanded a parent-teacher conference. Much was spoken among us, and then this pain, it was deep. I flipped inside out. A sudden flooding threw me back harder than any other emotion I've ever felt. It's as if a huge wave launched me back into the sand. It's ironic that my mom's tears cleaned my eyes. You see, I realized so much I had been blind to, heard so much I was deaf to, and experienced so much I had avoided. Yet it took about another year to recover from the shell shock. I began to assume responsibility like I never had before. I owe my mother a lot, to this day, and I still remind her that I love her. Today's May 10th. I saw cemeteries filled with flowers, balloons, of course people. Thank God for those mothers and much love for those who have lost her. Appreciate all of the feelings anybody has done for you, all the things, and open your eyes to them. So I wrote that last one on May 10th, and on May 11th was the anniversary where my grandfather died. And I tried writing a letter that day, and I couldn't. I stopped. I choked. Because it's painful. To this day, it hurts a lot that I can't see my grandfather anymore. I only knew him until I was 5, because when I came to the United States, he was still in Mexico, and he was the only one in my family who bothered to even call me. I grew up in such a catastrophic world. East LA wasn't easy for me at all. I fell, and I succumbed, and I let everybody take advantage of me. And he was the only one who still bothered to call me. It wasn't until a while afterwards that I actually knew what it was like to lose him, because it didn't hit me until I had a near-death experience. And it was a hard struggle, you know, but these letters I always keep, because I remember on May 11th was the first time I actually recognized that my grandfather existed, because I ignored him for so long. He would call, hey, where is he? And I wouldn't even pick up the phone. I would tell my mom, I'm busy, I'm watching TV. So these letters, they're just so impactful to my life because of the time period that I wrote them in, not necessarily because of the content. So the following day was May 12th, and I tried writing a letter again, but again, I didn't, because my best friend, he did a huge favor for me, and ever since then I've been really happy. A nice, cheerful person who writes a lot and does stuff for the good of it and whatnot. So yeah, I wanted to write something specifically for this, but I couldn't. But I leave to you guys this. I'm actually 18 now, by the way. So thank you guys for listening.
Everybody give it up one more time for Francisco.